Good evening, guys. Welcome to Wrestling Legion. I am your host for today, Andy, and I'm joined by my co-host, Nicholas. How are we doing, Nick?
I'm good, Andy. I'm very tired, but last night was a hell of a show.
Oh, yeah. It really was. And just before we start, obviously, we are in our trios formation today. Unfortunately, Sai's not feeling well, so Sai, feel better soon, my brother.
Get well, buddy.
Okay, well, we've got a lot to unpack, mate, and I think the best place to start is exactly what I put the title as is. Men's Royal Rumble match that we had. We had the eventual winner, that was Cody Rhodes, come back at number 30. After an incident, after an injury, we kept him out for a long time here. What's your thoughts on Cody winning the Rumble, first of all, Nick?
Right guy, right place, wrong place in the Rumble. Right guy, right time. You said it yourself. The Rumble's supposed to be about making a new star. Well, Cody's a big star elsewhere. He's never been a big star in WWE, just as Stardust. This Rumble has made Cody a big deal. He's not just saying he's a contender. He's proved he's a contender. I think I loved the booking of Gunther in this Rumble. Like, it was amazing. But I feel Cody coming in at 30 took a bit of the shine off his win. Especially considering he was in there with Gunther, who'd been in there since number 1.
Okay, let me ask you this then, because this is what I put as our thumbnail, and it's something that I want to get quite a bit of opinions on. This is Cody Rhodes a blocker to the main event now that we want?
No.
Okay, why?
Because I have a theory.
Ooh, go on.
Right, Elimination Chamber is coming up. The trigger has been pulled on Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. Sami is now at odds with the Bloodline. If he isn't, he's an idiot. After what the heat they left him in, you can certainly say he's not on their side, with the exception of possibly Jay. Currently, that I'm assuming will eventually all turn out. We'll find out hopefully on Monday and Friday. But my theory is that Kevin and Sami are both going to be in the Elimination Chamber with Roman. And they're both going to pin him.
Ooh, okay.
That's how you split the belts.
But is Roman going to be in the Elimination Chamber? Because we've heard a lot of words that he's not going to be.
This is true. Roman generally doesn't do gimmick matches if he can avoid them. But he did do a double gimmick match in the Hell in a Cell I Quit match that he had with Jay. So he's not above and beyond. And I think a Chamber in Roman's run, one, it protects him slightly on his loss, especially if he's in the Chamber for a while and he's not the last person released from his pod. And two, having Kevin and Sami in Montreal pin Roman at the exact same time to take a title off him each would be unbelievable poetic justice in their hometowns. And then you slide Cody into whichever one with Kevin, and you carry on with Roman getting his rematch with Sami at WrestleMania. So we still get Roman and Sami for the Universal title, and then you get Cody and Kevin for the WWE Championship.
Okay. So, do you believe... So, at the way it stands, though, and you've got the Bloodline, and you could potentially do... me personally, I was looking at before and thinking you could potentially do Jey Uso one night against Roman, second night Sami, something along them lines. But I think, for me personally, I think Cody is right person, wrong time at this present moment.
Okay. I can see your point. I strongly disagree, but I concede to your point.
Yeah. I just feel like the Bloodline stuff, and that's so good, it just doesn't need another person coming into the melting pot.
I can understand that, because the story's been unheard of gold for 6 months. Like, no story in modern wrestling runs for that long and is that popular. But I said to you, and I've said to Simon in the past, that even if it was The Rock and Roman at Mania, the Rumble was going to get in the way. It turns out the Rumble winner is still getting in the way, but now it's getting in the way of Sami and Roman, which is why you have to escalate the program like they did last night at the Rumble to have the payoff at the Chamber, which then means you get a straight month build for Cody versus blank.
Okay. I still think it's Cody. Apparently, Cody's going to challenge him tomorrow night on Raw, which I'm a little bit like about.
Really?
But let me ask you this question then: is there any worlds where we still see The Rock?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Jey Uso. Everybody's been saying who sent Solo Sikoa. And there's a recurring theory, including among our friends, that The Rock sent Solo Sikoa. Well, what if he didn't send Solo Sikoa? Jey was the original antagonist to Roman. Roman literally had to beat him into the bloodline. He forced him into it by beating the holy living hell out of him in 2 really good matches on pay-per-view. What if Jey goes and finds the real head of the table because Roman's got out of control?
Okay, I'm liking that. I am liking that. Yeah, I do like that. Or he goes to the elders and the elders turn around and say, we've had enough of Roman, now it's time to put him back in his place.
Yeah, that'd work.
Okay. Well, let's have a little look then. I don't want to spend too much time on that because it was so just perfectly done that I don't think it really needs to. And, you know, any of you guys that watch this, I think that you already know what's gone on with that. Obviously, Sami Zayn. The one thing I do want to mention, sorry, before we move on, is the fact that that chair shot was just absolutely phenomenal. With the whole psyche of Roman and the way he's very insecure, he's very else, and he felt that Seth Rollins shot all over again. Yeah,
that's what it was. It was that look on his face of really,
again.
When I've built so much and I've done so much to do it, but I think the award for last night has to go to Jey Uso.
Yeah. Oh, Jey Uso was absolutely brilliant.
That performance he put in at the end was just picture perfect.
Yeah,
it's exactly what a super conflicted person would be like.
It's just the whole bloodline story is just absolutely amazing. It's even like the fact of, I just love the whole psyche with Roman. It's kind of like, does he have to feel like he has to beat these people and keep them in line because what did happen with the Shield? And that's where this insecurity comes from. And then he's moved on to this, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, there's just so many, it's just such an onion story, isn't it? There's just so many layers to it.
Yes, it is an onion. It is a complete onion. I mean, like I said, it's been gold for 6-7 months now.
Yeah.
When was the last time any storyline in wrestling managed to hold weight and be this good and basically be the best thing on the product for 7 months? It's been years since something that captivated the audience in this way. There is a voice out there on the internet saying they shouldn't have pulled the trigger last night. I think they're wrong. I think it's due to the fact that it was the Royal Rumble, and as we both stated earlier, and as you asked, the Rumble winner is kind of in the way. They have to speed up and escalate the storyline, as I think, to pay off a Chamber.
Yeah.
3 weeks. Is it enough time?
Well, yeah, I think so. And I also think because of the fact that we've got, 8 weeks on Saturday, 9 weeks yesterday till Mania.
Yep.
I think the Elimination Chamber comes within 3 weeks is a blessing because it's 3 weeks, Elimination Chamber, bang, 5 week build. Yeah. There's a really good build there, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it can be. That's the thing.
All right, David.
Hello, Dave.
How are we doing, my mate?
Good to see you.
Brilliant to see you.
That's ace. Completely forgot what I was going to say. David, you totally threw me off. I'm so happy to see you here.
And also, hi, Court. You okay, Courtney?
Hello, Courtney. What are we talking about? Men's Royal. There we go. There we go. Okay. I have said on numerous occasions, and to much chagrin of my friends, that Cody Rhodes is the finest storyteller in professional wrestling today. Cody's ability to build a storyline in a short span was put on show in AEW. People may not have liked the character he was playing, but the storylines he did with Sammy Guevara in a couple of weeks that made people care about the matches, that wasn't because of Sammy, because Sammy's not very good. At least he's not very good at telling a story. He's a good spot monkey. But Cody told those stories. And now Cody has the chance on the biggest stage, going for the biggest prize, to tell the biggest story of his life. And I, for one, cannot wait.
But what's the story? That's the thing. So
the story is already set in stone. He is going to achieve what his father always wanted.
Yeah, scary Liverpool's even not here. The little follow for you.
Yeah, he's going to achieve what his dad always wanted. He's going to win the title that Dusty never could.
Yeah, there's a story there. But...
Hang on. There's a story for the bloodline there. What does Cody's entrance music start with? Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Yeah.
Well, in WWE, the royal family is the Anoa'i family. Cody is challenging that premise. He's literally telling Roman, I'm the king now. No one's done that.
Okay, would you have Cody lose at Mania?
Ooh, you know what?
Like Dusty did?
I don't want him to lose. I really want Cody to be World Heavyweight Champion. But for the sake of me wanting Roman to get to 1,000 days, yeah.
But would it be cool as well at the fact that Cody, because let's face it, since he's come in, it's all been his own way. And maybe if he loses to Roman, then it's kind of he's just got to turn around and kind of go again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see. Will it put the chip back on his shoulder? Will he find a bit more fire?
Yeah. He's got to do some. He's got to go through some adversity, hasn't he? A little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that was my problem with him coming in at 30 in the Rumble. I said to you last night, I wanted Cody to come in about number 3 because he's got gas for days. He wasn't going to get blown up. He could have probably, unless obviously the injury's not as well healed as everybody thinks, and it still needs a few more weeks. But I think it would have been better bringing Cody in earlier in the Rumble because at least then he would have faced more adversity in the Rumble as opposed to yes, Gunther is terrifying, but he'd also been in the match for an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah, we've got Dale saying, we need to get some sleep. I'm telling you, mate, I'm not arguing with you on that one. David says Cody could get into the main event to get Roman to his first 5-star match if they go that route. Interesting, yeah, I suppose he could. I just don't think. I don't know. Can Cody get him to a 5-star match, do you think?
I think they can, but not in an athletic show-off. Roman's a great storyteller. Wrestling is at heart telling stories. Cody is the best storyteller. You put 2 guys that know how to tell a story in a ring. It's like Flair and Sting. They just knew how to tell a story. It doesn't matter if it's the same story you've seen 1,000 times before. The way they tell it is so nuanced and interesting that it'll keep you captivated. I think Cody has what it takes to get a 5-star match on a room.
That's it. Well, Courtney agrees with you, mate. She thinks that there's a chance that David said, I would say Cody is not 100%, but they had to get him in there to get the story moving. Totally agree with you, mate. They had to pull the trigger on it if that was the route they were going to go down. And based on everybody else in the Rumble, apart from Gunther, maybe there was no one that I really fancied. So, don't get me wrong, I'm mad that Cody won it. I do think it's a bit predictable, but same time, suppose sometimes predictability isn't always a bad thing.
How about that? I went to bed before March Peacock needs to be fixed.
we wouldn't know that problem because over here in good old Britannia, we still get the WWE Network, sir.
Yeah, with its superior search function and functionality.
Definitely. Right, well, we'll move on to some other parts from throughout the Royal Rumble, Nick. So first of all, I wanted to talk about probably the high spot in the Rumble. We normally have some high spots, and we had a real high spot, and we also had a really low spot in this Rumble, didn't we? For the second year in a row, unfortunately, Kofi Kingston failed to his move on. It looked like he actually hurt himself. I wasn't even bothered that he didn't hit his finger. I was more worried if he'd actually hurt himself. Yeah. Do you think it's time to put that to bed now with
I think it is. I mean,
Kofi.
they tried to replicate it with Naomi in the Women's Rumble in the first 3. and it's become it was originally a cool thing that Kofi did, and the more he did it, the more fans expected him to do it. And unfortunately, I think he's narrowly escaped every way there is to narrowly escape that you can do guaranteed. So the stuff he has to try and do now is a bit ludicrous. And as we saw last night, it can go quite horribly wrong.
Yeah. Well, from that to a new different type of highlight that we had there, which was Logan Paul and Ricochet. What a banger.
Oh, Logan Paul, I can't believe I'm going to say this. He's a really good pro wrestler. Like, in the ring, that boy can go. Like, can't take away athletic ability, and he has lots of it. That bump was not even the fall. The impact of them hitting each other when they both did the coast to coast across the ring. I remember sitting there watching it going, what are they doing? That's all I was thinking was, what are they going to do? Because that's not going to work. It worked. It worked in a very painful way, which I appreciate. But the one thing I will say on Logan Paul's subject is it looks like someone in WWE, probably Triple H, has finally got through to him and said, you're a heel, young man. Yeah. Because there was lots of heelish tendencies from Logan Paul last night.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to say here, Courtney's complaining that it didn't finish till 1 a.m. So it's 6 a.m. here in the UK. So do not expect any kind of sympathy from us, Court, because it's not coming.
None.
Sorry, Paul.
I haven't been to sleep.
Yeah. David says Kofi spots are becoming a parody themselves. Time to put them to bed. Totally agree. So does Dale. And Dale says, "Can we give up on Alexa Bliss?" Oh, we'll get to Alexa Bliss. Don't you worry. Okay, so some of the other points in the Rumble that were really good. I think probably the MVP of the Rumble was our main man, the ring general, Gunther. It was just absolute start to finish. And do you know what? I feel like sometimes people get lauded for being in the Rumble for quite a long time. But it's okay being there for a long time, pal, but you've got to actually do something with it. And I feel like Gunther actually did something with it, which was brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
I think we've been talking for a while now, well, not on air, but we've been talking for a while now about Triple H rebuilding the mid-card and doing a damn good job of it. I think what he did last night was take the Intercontinental Champion and go, this is the guy. Yeah. He made Gunther the villain, like in the mid-card in WWE. He is the unconquerable end boss, right, for that division now. And it's been completely solidified. He was just swatting people left and right. It was absolutely amazing. He
was everywhere, wasn't he? And that was the whole point. It's like you can have people like, no disrespect, but Liv Morgan, if we go to the women's one, she was there. But, you know, Gunther was there in the match constantly. He was managing the match. He was part of everything. He had that stare down with Brock Lesnar, which was quality.
The only comparison I can make, and it's one I don't like to make, but I've got to, is to Chris Benoit in 2004.
Yeah.
Where he was involved, as you say, he was just constantly involved. Or even Ric Flair in 92. Flair was constantly involved in that Rumble, fighting whoever came in. Gunther was the same thing last night. Every single person that came in that Rumble had a standoff with Gunther.
Yeah.
Well, that's everyone of
note. Courtney says, can we please get Gunther Brock? I still think we're going to get that at WrestleMania, Court. I feel like it'll be Elimination Chamber, will be Bobby, Bobbles, and Brock.
And Brock's never won the IC title.
No, and I don't think he will win it. I think
I don't think he'll win it at all.
Brock is very, very good. People say something about stuff about Brock, but at the end of the day, he's very, very good in his approach, and he will put people over.
Just because he didn't want to work with Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, doesn't mean he doesn't want to work with everybody. It's just he has no interest in hardcore wrestling, so that style was never going to fly with Brock.
No.
However, like, if it's somebody that he thinks he can have a good match with, he put one over, for God's sake.
I know. Drew McIntyre.
Drew.
And if the thing was, if you watch, I remember when him and Drew McIntyre were going through their program together, and there was a bit where Drew done something to him, and you can clearly hear Brock saying, do it again. And he was talking through it and say, you know what I mean? So he's good at stuff like that. There's no bad thing, and I think it'll be a really good one with him and Gunther. And I think him and Gunther as well will be one of them matches where I think WWE sometimes can get caught up in trying to promote too many matches too quickly at WrestleMania. And with it being a 2-night event and stuff, you need matches like a Brock versus Gunther because it doesn't need any build.
No.
Or a very small build, but the fans will go mad and they'll sell the fight for you online without you even have to do it. So, you know, I think that's probably one of them. Other thing on the Royal Rumble was no Rey Mysterio. Now, this really annoyed me because I've seen a report from Sean Ross Sapp since then. And apparently WWE knew that Rey was injured from Friday Night SmackDown.
So
and there was meant to be some interaction between Condom and Rey in the Rumble, but because that didn't happen, they decided to waste the space and get Dom to come out with the mask.
So that's why it was a 29-man Rumble.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Well, it was slightly irritating. I have to say, though, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Simon is going to love this. Dominic was one of the highlights of last night.
Oh, it was quality. Right. Absolute quality.
That kid, right, he can't wrestle a lick. But everything else, he's so natural at. Yeah. Like, being a little house heel.
Yeah. But he can, do you know what? I'm not having that, though, Nick. He can wrestle a little bit. Not much.
Okay, a little bit.
But for somebody, you tell me so. Yeah, hang on a minute. Hang on. Okay, right. Answer me this: is Bron Breakker the best wrestler than him?
No, because Dom has timing.
Exactly. There you go. So if we're actually looking at it, mate, he's not a terrible wrestler. He's just, and he can wrestle. He's just not experienced, and that's the difference. I think people get is like, you know, because realistically. He's around about if you're looking for a measuring stick, Bron Breakker's probably the measuring stick for him.
Yeah, top guy in NXT.
Yeah, and he's better than him, so.
Right. Well, either way, Dom was a bloody highlight last night. From his facial expressions to his constantly trying to count out to the big baby faces not to hit him in the face. Everything he did, especially after Finn and Priest came in, was so well done. I just, as Courtney brought it up, Drew and Sheamus's booking in last night's Rumble was masterful.
Yeah,
they are now the eternal rivals. It's like Hyperion and Thor, two brothers built in war that have just come to no respect to each other, even though they may not like each other very much. And the fact that I haven't seen it in a Rumble in years where one babyface will save the other babyface.
And you know what? That was so refreshing. I was saying this to Sai last night was when they turned round and what's his name? And one of them started to get knocked out and they kept on saving each other. It was like, that's what the babyface should do, especially when they're like, you know, brothers in a team and whatnot. Yeah. It was like, you know, why would you try, like when we've seen the news, they try and eliminate each other or the ones trying to eliminate each other. And it's like, why would you do that? If it was the final 2 or 4, maybe. But when you're in the middle of a match, why does that make sense?
No, it makes zero sense at all. If you were in a tag team, I mean, I've never liked tag teams going in the Royal Rumble because of this. It's like this always happens with teams in the Royal Rumble. They try to eliminate each other straight away. The Hardy Boys did it. The Dudley Boys did it. Edge and Christian did it. Just to name 3 teams. I'm pretty sure Too Cool did it at one point. I'm pretty sure the New Age Outlaws tried to eliminate each other at one point. It's just whenever they put a team in the Rumble, they have to try and throw each other out. And there is no logic behind it. I know it's wrestling, so it doesn't have to be logical. But there is zero logic behind throwing your tag team partner out of a 30-man match, where you could quite easily work together and do a hell of a lot better than you would after throwing your friend out.
There you go. Well, David said Dom couldn't lift the mask. He needs to do some more reps in the yards on the waist. I was quite surprised that he couldn't rip him, because I think he's been doing something else behind the cell door. So, all right, we'll move on anyway. Next match we had on the cards was Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair. I don't quote me on the where they got to on you guys, but I think I got it quite right. But there you go. Yeah, this was an awful match. I thought the actual way the girls worked well in the ring and they tried the best here. It was a quick win for Bianca. And the thing is that annoys me is that should have been that. But then we get Howie on the screen and we go all weird and it's like, oh.
My brother brought this up before. Why have the Uncle Howdy stuff at the end of the match? Why not put it in the middle of the match, have Alexa do her switch, and actually have Bianca have a challenge to overcome, as opposed to just squashing her competition in 7 minutes?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, you've got somewhere to get it into. I don't mind just squashing it in 7 minutes. That's fine. But then afterwards with all this, it's like, oh, okay then. So you're going to be back in the title picture at some point soon, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? It's like... Ugh.
Yeah, you know why it made zero sense as well? Having all the Uncle Howdy stuff? Because that wasn't the next match on the card. We've just skipped over what was the next match on the card. Yeah. And it was not a good match. But we'll get to that. But Uncle Howdy near enough killed himself, jumping out of the rafters onto LA Knight. So how is he still around to play videos to Alexa? Like, that don't make no damn sense. No,
it really doesn't. It really doesn't. I think also, but that one was just really poor. But let's talk about the Mountain Dream match while we're there. Do you know what? One thing I will say with this is, if I had my choice between this as a sponsor match or that zombie stuff we got with the Miz last time, I'd take this all day because, to be fair to them on this one, visually it was very pleasing.
Yeah, it looked like Naomi's entrance. Yeah, which was cool. The one thing that confused me, because I still haven't worked out what it was all of the weird green stuff that flew off the announce table. Was it paint? Were they weird little green bits of card? Was it plastic? Why was it there? Was it Mountain Dew?
Polystyrene.
That was polystyrene. Why? Why is it there?
To make it look good when they slammed them through.
Yeah, but it didn't look good.
It looks all right.
The slam looked all right, but that stuff, you know me, I love spooky bollocks in professional wrestling, but that's goofy bollocks, and that's an entire different thing. The only thing I will say about Manchu Pitch Black match is my boy LA Knight played his part perfectly.
Yeah, he's been perfect throughout the whole kind of feud, hasn't he? He's been really, really good start to finish. Yeah. And David is very right. Apart from we don't call him Uncle Howdy after this, we call him Uncle Bubbly because he's done exactly what Mr. Jericho done, did he? It was a very, very poor spot.
Yeah, he did. He just crashed and burned.
Yeah.
I bet LA Knight was happy.
Yeah, Uncle Bubbly hit the crash match very nice. But, all in all, it was a good little match. I always go sometimes off, we've got my 12-year-old son, the legend that is Ashton. And, his reaction to that match was really, really cool. And, that's what it's all about, isn't it, really?
That's what we all forget sometimes. We are cantankerous old jaded adults who've been watching wrestling for decades. But the sport is still PG and it's aimed at your children as well. It's predominantly aimed at children. We just are all pre-adolescent kids. But like I say, LA Knight played his part well. I thought Bray looked stupid. Like with all the weird glow paint. He looked like it. Did you put it a bad Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, the weird avatar.
Yeah, avatar memes. I can see them coming.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on anyway. So the next match of the night we had was the Women's Royal Rumble. We only actually had to, considering how long this card was, I still can't believe how many matches were on the card.
I know, only 5.
I believe, David saying it, I believe that will be in the running for the worst match of the year. Yeah, and I still think it's Cameron Grimes. I still think it's Cameron Grimes, mate.
Well, I've got a bet on with you for that, so...
Right, 50 cents. Right, okay, so we move on to the Women's Royal Rumble. I thought, do you know what, I'm going to be a bit bold here. I thought the women's was better than the men's.
Agreed. I completely agree. I thought it was paced better. I thought there were more surprises.
Yeah, but it had the right sprinkle of Legends and NXT as well.
Yes, which was nice to see. I mean, I know that we both know the real reason there's so many NXT and surprise entrants in the Women's Rumble is because they don't have a large enough women's roster to fill up the slots on the main roster, at least. But I think that's a good thing because Roxanne Perez really showed up and showed out last night in that Rumble.
So did Zoe Stark.
Yeah, Zoe Stark had a really good showing. And it's good to give these girls a platform. I'm annoyed that Roxy didn't come out with the belt. I think she's the NXT Women's Champion. She should come out with the belt. It's fine saying it on commentary, but the people in the arena don't necessarily know she's a title holder unless she comes out with the title. Yeah. But I thought she was fantastic in last night. So she say Zoe Stark was really, really good, and I was really happy to see Zoe. I think she's more than main roster ready.
Yeah, they didn't, of course.
No, not one whatsoever. They didn't. Just to go back to it 1 minute, that's one thing we didn't mention was maybe you brought it up last night. Maybe it's the point of everybody needs to stop expecting so many surprises in a Rumble now.
Yeah. I think with the depth, though, that the men showed last night is, apart from it was a Booker T, and it was about the only surprise, really, wasn't it?
And Logan.
And Logan, yeah. Yeah, but Logan's still active, isn't he, really?
Yeah, true.
Now, let me ask you this question just very quickly about the men's Rumble. We'll go back to the women's Rumble now, but do you think it's time to move it to 40?
See, I'm of two minds of this. I actually think a 40-man Rumble would be a good idea. If you cut the entrance down to a minute and a half, you'd still be done in an hour and 30 minutes. And we just had a 6-hour card nearly with 5 matches, so I think they could probably manage it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they did try it once because it's the Rumble Del Rio one.
Yeah.
Now, it's not remembered fondly because Del Rio won it, but also it was an absolute shambles.
Yeah, I thought this one was really good, though. I didn't feel anything really bad with this one.
No, I love this Rumble. There weren't any botches, major botches. There was a couple of slips here and there, but all the spots that appeared to go off looked like they were meant to go off when they went off. Yeah,
it did, yeah.
Everybody appeared to be where they were supposed to be when they were needed.
Well, in the women's one, right there again, I thought there was some really good showings. Oscar looked fantastic, which is good because she'll strengthen up, hopefully, SmackDown. We got Rhea in there winning the Rumble. Obviously, that makes her go on to WrestleMania. Did you know that she dislocated the knee in that match?
Did she?
And popped back in, apparently, yeah. So she said she was all right after the fact.
Girl.
Said it popped out while she was in there, so... kudos to her. I even thought some of the other ones that were in there, even like Dana Brooke and all that give a good showing. It was Raquel Gonzalez done really well. I did think she should have been in the top 4.
Yeah, I agree. I would have liked to have seen it come down to Raquel and Rhea because it's the big powerful girl off Raw and it's the big powerful girl off SmackDown. That brings a bit of brand notoriety again, which is good for the shows.
Yeah. And
you can talk about it in commentary. And Raquel's been built like the Terminator on SmackDown. She's one of the few women in that division that's been given the shine, a book that's not just named Charlotte Flair or Ronda Rousey. And I like Raquel. I legitimately do. I think she's a very, very, very good power wrestler. She's got edges of China to her, to me. In the way she wrestles, but she's a lot smoother than China was. She's a lot cleaner. But I would have liked to have seen her in the final 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have even settled for the final 4.
Yeah. Yeah, happily.
I heard that, David, they're saying about Chelsea Green's return. And based on her entrance, it looks like they're going to be doing like a kind of Karen character. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm fine because Chelsea's hilarious. Chelsea is absolutely hilarious. And getting Chelsea back means they are one step closer to getting Matt Cardona back. And Matt Cardona has had the run of his life since he went on the Indies. So it's all good things.
And David has a good point saying, start moving for the people on the current roster and then maybe just start using them. Of course, mate, yeah. I'm not against that at all.
Agreed, Dave.
what's that there as well? Rachel may get fed to the return of Nia Jax. I don't think Nia Jax, anyone will get fed to Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax will be just there as a solid mid-carder who does something differently. I would love to see...
Is she definitely back full-time?
Well, no one's confirmed that, but it looks that way. I don't think WWE would have brought it in as a one-off.
Well, there goes the injury list up again.
Yeah, and also I think that they'll put it. Do you know what? If I was them, right, is the problem you have with Nia Jax? There's never been no one big enough to put it in a place. I know Charlotte tried, but she absolutely just rinsed Charlotte then, didn't she?
Yeah.
Put it with Piper.
Yeah. Big, angry Scottish girl. She'll whoop her.
Yeah, you'll put it right in a place. Okay, so we're going to move on to the main event. Whoa.
Hang on.
Oh.
Let's just talk about the fact that Rhea set the record last night, and Gunther set the record last night for longest times in the men's and women's Rumble, respectively. Like, that deserves some credit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's all. That just deserves some credit, because it was an hour and 11 minutes, I believe, for Gunther, and 59 minutes for Rhea.
Yeah.
And that's basically an hour.
It's good going.
Both of them, all contact all night, no hiding in the ropes, no doing anything else, just credit where credit is due.
But also a special mention to Liv Morgan, because she lasted 58 minutes, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Liv did. I'm not, as you know, I'm not a Liv Morgan supporter. I think the Liv Morgan experiment failed. It was worth trying, but it failed miserably. She's not ready to be champion yet. No. But last night, she worked hard.
Yeah.
Like, she worked hard last night. She put her chops in.
Well, can we move on to the main event now, please, please, pretty please?
Yes, of course we can, Andy.
Oh, so good. So good. Even from the beginning, Sami Zayn and Paul Heyman outside that ring was something I didn't know I needed.
Oh, it was just super. I mean, Paul's always good. But when Paul had a sounding board, and that sounding board is so beloved right now, and that sounding board is so good at expressing emotion, like without saying a word, Sami's body language is incredible. His face work is incredible. Paul's constantly jibing at him when at one point he's like, praise your tribal chief, praise him now, praise him, Sami, praise your tribal chief. And he got angrier with it because Sami was just starting to look confused. To the point where in the match where Roman told him to get a chair and Sami was like, but you told me not to do anything. All these little tiny touches that Sami Zayn has thrown into the story that made him bigger than the match last night.
Even he's turning around to Kevin Owens, stay down, just stay down.
It was heart-wrenching last night.
It really was.
Kudos to KO for taking one hell of a whooping.
Yeah. And then, even when he was taking the whooping and you could see Sami was, twisted and convert, it was just so good. So good.
The match was great. The match itself, you said it yourself last night, the match was very slow-paced. It was very slow-paced, but it's very methodical. And I think it built correctly towards the end.
Yes, it did.
Especially now we know what the finale was going to be. What's the best way to put this? Sami deserves an Oscar.
Yes,
that's the only way I can put it. Roman Reigns went to acting class. That's why Roman's so good at his character, because Roman can act. Sami Zayn's never been to acting class a day in his life. He's just that good.
Yeah.
And the one thing they need to do, this is just for me, is we know how great a character Sami is. Everybody does now. It's been 7 months of this fantastic, just started as a little weasel and has just become this precious little chihuahua just sat off in the corner that's now been absolutely decimated by its owners. It's horrible. It's just so good.
And there's just so many possibilities, as we say, of how you can go forward with this. But the fact now the first shot's being thrown across the bow, hasn't it, with the Sammy and then the bloodline. Even the fact that Roman got the flowers afterwards. But I think Roman, for the first time, is not a cool heel. He's not a manufactured heel. He's not the babyface everyone was getting shoved down the throat. He is a full-on nuclear heat, legitimate heel.
Yeah. Like, it's the first, and it took the one thing I've been saying for 2 years, people. They never built a babyface to rival Roman's evil.
Mm-hmm.
Joker's no good without Batman.
Yeah.
Lex is no good without Superman.
Yeah,
No. Lex is no good without his Superman. Right? Sami Zayn is the best pure babyface in wrestling when he's given the chance. All right?
I thought you were going to say Cody, and I was going to say
Jesus
shut
Christ,
your mouth,
no.
Nicholas.
No. Sami Zayn is the best pure babyface in professional wrestling. The one thing we need to do now is remind everybody that he's not just the great babyface, but he's actually a great wrestler.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been lost a little bit in this storyline, is he's been portrayed as such an innocent, almost a bystander that's just been manipulated this entire time because he thinks he's getting the family he's always wanted.
Yeah.
And
well, another thing on that as well is you've got Roman's the steak, Sammy's the sizzle. Well, Jey Uso is the bloody peppercorn sauce, my friend.
Jay's performance last night was freaking superb. Just epic. Like, with the rage on his face, and at the same time, total bewilderment of what to do.
The pain, the rage, the upset, the emotion. Oh, it was all there.
That is so hard to do and so hard to express without saying anything. And even though I hate Kevin Dunn because he didn't ever linger enough on Jay's face when he was walking down the ramp. Should have kept the camera on Jay a little bit more, just because it would have helped. Because people would have realized that was a long-ass ramp.
But this is one thing as well, mate, that I think that we've still got a potential chance at The Rock for, right? Did you notice they kept going away from Jay, coming back to him, going away, coming back to him, going away, coming back? And I'm sitting there thinking, The Rock's coming out now. The Rock's going to come out now. He's bringing The Rock out. And it never happens. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, obviously I've kind of accepted that this isn't going to happen, but there's a part of me that's going, hang on, are these playing this year?
Here's the thing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, myself, Andy, and Simon all have the great pleasure this year of going to WrestleMania. We're all in our 30s and 40s. We're old. And when we were growing up, the two greatest people in WWF, not EF, Stone Cold Steve Austin and the motherfucking Rock.
Oh, yes.
Right. The opportunity to see Dwayne The Rock Johnson live is something that none of us want to let go of. And it's not just us here because we're going. It's fans all over the world because this match has been rumored for so long. Even though at this point I'm starting to think it was a malicious rumor started by Dave Meltzer just to screw with the IWC. If they can find a way to get The Rock involved in this storyline, there is a chance. Oh, I just thought of something. What if it's not a Mania match with The Rock? What if it's a SummerSlam match with The Rock?
No, it'd be so. If Hollywood, if he's going to do it, it'd be Hollywood. I think for his own ego, that's where he'd do it. And this is where I think, is Roman going to be in the main event at WrestleMania at all? Or does Sammy take the belt off him and we kind of put that to bed for a little bit and then he turns his attentions to Jey Uso? Jimmy and Roman versus Rock and Jay at WrestleMania. That way you can shoe on The Rock in there without actually having him to do all of the work.
It doesn't have to do a full match. I'd like to see that, and we've never seen the Usos kick the crap out of each other.
No.
There's been little snippets here and there, but they've never actually had a full one-on-one match.
No.
The question is, you know me, it's all about the story. The only conceivable story I can see is Jay now. He's the only beat left that could possibly be the reason that elders or the tribal chiefs or whatever go, we need to inform the boss.
Yeah.
And
hey, Si.
Hello, Simon. Hope you're feeling better, dude. And thank you very much. Yes, it might be fool's gold at this point, but I will eat that fool's gold as long as I can.
And I think this is one thing is, you know what, mate? I don't even think it's because we're going there. I think the reason that I'm still thinking about this and how he could chew on, and that is because Triple H is one thing he's done this whole time is he has made you believe in multiple things. Like everything I look at now, I don't just look at one outcome, I look at about 15 different ones. And, you know, that's a testament to what they're doing over there at the moment.
Well, there's one telltale thing that I think The Rock and Roman at some point is still going to happen.
Yeah.
Roman keeps doing rock bombs.
Yes.
Now, he only started doing this about 2 months ago, but he's wrestled a lot. Well, Roman on his schedule has wrestled a lot recently. And in every single match, he's done a rock bomb. And in every single match, Michael Cole has made sure to call it a rock bomb. Now, we know that he's related and everything else, but when Becky Lynch does it, they don't call it a rock bomb.
No, the manhandle slamming it.
Mm-hmm. So why, when Roman's doing it, are they not just calling it a Uranagi suplex?
Yeah.
There's something there.
Yeah. And that's it. It's just when does it come out? And I just don't believe it. And do you know what? I'll be glad if I'm wrong and it's SummerSlam and it's at least it's something. But I just do still think there's a chance. And I reckon that's why they're waiting so late is just because I think what Dwayne's looking at is how's the XFL look at that point? And if the XFL is going through a bit of a shock or whatever, then maybe that might not be the case. He said he may take a while to recover from the shock of Tom finishing 8th. But you know what, mate? You missed it, Si, because our friend Nicholas here tried to say that Dom was a bad wrestler. So I say he is not a bad wrestler. We've been through this, Nick. Right?
No. You stated some facts.
Mm-hmm.
These are true facts. Doesn't make him good.
Doesn't make him good, but it makes him an experienced wrestler. He's not a bad wrestler. He's inexperienced.
Yes,
because that way you're calling Bron Breakker a bad wrestler because he is better.
Bron Breakker is a bad wrestler.
Yeah, but Dom's better than him. But again, is Bron Breakker bad or is he still just learning because they threw him in too quickly? Because if you look at the trajectories and you also look at the way that both of them two come in, they both got through into the limelight pretty quickly. You know, I guess Bron Breakkers was in NXT, but they did both get, and they both did get put out there pretty quickly. They didn't get a couple of years in the performance center or anything. So, you know, if you're looking at them two, they're pretty simultaneous in terms of how the careers progressed. So for me personally, Dom's not a bad wrestler. He's just a bit of an inexperienced. But considering he's an inexperienced wrestler, his character work.
His character work, phenomenal, freaking brilliant. I'll admit that, Simon. His character, especially after last night, his performance, he was one of the highlights of the Rumble. The Judgment Day, who could have believed they basically turned face last night? Mm-hmm. Like, because they were getting cheered. They weren't getting booed. Dom got booed a little bit, but as a group, they got cheered until Edge came out.
Yeah. That's it. Well, guys.
One quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Sami Zayn, when do we see him next?
Elimination. Or we see him maybe Raw, because it would be good to get him to come out and give his side of the story without the fear of Roman coming out.
But he just took the worst beating of his life.
Yeah.
Don't you want him to sell that a little bit, maybe till Friday?
No, not really, because what I'd like to see probably for the next week or so is, and this is where, I don't know, this would be my way I'd book it is, I would have Sami on Raw, and I would have Roman respond on SmackDown. Sami respond on Raw, Roman respond on SmackDown, and then we get the two of them together in the final week up to the Elimination Chamber.
Like a political debate. I like it.
Yeah, but also it gets people into both shows, doesn't it? It makes both shows feel
Yeah.
You know, so that's our thingy. Oh, Cole, thanks so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And David, you too as well, mate.
Love you guys.
All right, well, guys, thanks so much for watching. Let us know in the comment section what you thought of this video of the Royal Rumble as a whole. And if you like our video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, guys. Obviously, we are a brand new channel. We're starting off from scratch, so your support is well appreciated. And thank you very much for joining the Legion. But from us, until next time, from me and Nick the Geek.
Adios.
Stay safe, guys, and we'll see you again next week.